3rd, 2019. I call this meeting to order and ask the clerk to please again call the roll.
Trustee Kammerer?
Here.
Carbonaro?
Here.
Daney?
Here.
Cabrera, absent. Hopkins?
Here.
Rinky?
Present.
President Wallace.
Here. First item on our agenda this evening is Building and Zoning. Chairman Hopkins.
First thing on our agenda is 120 Live, and with that, I will turn it over to Roberta.
Thank you, Trustee Hopkins. As you will recall, this is a proposal to establish a sit-down restaurant with alcohol service in an existing building located at 120 West Bartlett Avenue. The site plan includes creating a fenced outdoor seating area on the west side of the existing building, and the interior of the building would undergo a substantial remodel, which will include the creation of an entertainment area, which will host special events such as karaoke. Tonight, the petitioner is requesting site plan review, special use permits to allow restaurant with alcohol service, outdoor seating, and live entertainment, both indoor and outdoor. They are also requesting variations to allow a reduction in the required number of off-street parking spaces, a reduction of the required open space, and an increase in the maximum wall sign square footage allowance. The Zoning Board of Appeals reviewed the petitioner's request for variations and conducted the requisite public hearing at their meeting on November 7th, and the Zoning Board of Appeals recommended approval of those requests. The Plan Commission reviewed the petitioner's request for a site plan and special use permits and conducted the public hearing at their meeting on November 14th, and they also recommended approval. However, they did add one additional condition, and that was designating an appropriate smoking area at the rear of the lot. So they opted to, I listed the conditions on the executive summary there for you, and included in that is the outdoor entertainment shall end before 11 p.m. Monday through Saturday evenings and before 10 p.m. on Sunday evenings, which mirrors our current amplifier permit regulations. So with that, the petitioners are here in the audience tonight, and if you have any questions, we can try to answer those.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. Can you explain the amplifier permit? What that's basically for individual homes, isn't it? It's not, doesn't actually relate to businesses, correct?
Yes, typically, yes.
Yeah.
But it means your
But
neighbor couldn't get a permit until 11.
It does apply to churches, too, and yes.
Well, I am very excited about seeing this program move forward, and I want to wish these people the best in business, and I'm looking forward to frequenting the establishment on a regular basis. The one comment that I do have to make is that regardless of my personal feelings, I've received numerous phone calls about the hours of operation, and it's been explained to me, and I've read it in the minutes, that the outdoor entertainment will basically be like a guitarist. It'll be all low-keyed, so to speak. Am I saying that correctly?
That's correct.
Better yet, you help me out on this.
Sure. My name is Dana Bowman, and myself and my parents, we own 120 West Bartlett. And you are correct. We do not plan on having any sort of band or DJ or loud amplifying music. If we have somebody that would be, well, I guess you could consider a band, it would be a guitarist or maybe a duet. It's something like that. We also plan on, you know, if there's a World Series game or if there's some sort of sporting event that people want to listen to the commentary, we'd plan on having that be available, but it wouldn't be something that would cause a disturbance to anybody near us.
Thank you. Well, the pushback I'm getting is that they're concerned about the hours to 11 o'clock. And I'm also torn with that because, you know, if we're watching a ball game where Monday Night Football is, the mayor put it to me last week, you know, it's obviously on a little longer than 10 o'clock. However, with that being said, I still think that I would like to see a compromise on the hours. And if we had Sunday through Thursday to 10 o'clock in the evening, and then on Friday and Saturday nights to 11 o'clock, I think that would be much more acceptable to the residents in the area. And I can tell you that, you know, we're getting, we had a lot of comments when Bannerman's wanted to put the outdoor volleyball and whatnot out there, or at the court. And, you know, some of those homes were pretty well removed from his facility. And I know that Barack's place over here, the lofty townhomes are almost like 500 feet away from the back door of Brock's. And we had quite a bit of feedback on that, too. And in fact, that it was never even approved by the village board. But I would like to see something like 10 o'clock on Sunday through Thursday, and Friday and Saturdays to 11 o'clock, because it's my understanding that the closest resident, excluding the apartment above J.C.'s, is like 400 feet away on Oneida. And I just know that, you know, we'll have some problems with that. Now, I'm wondering if we did cut it off at 10 o'clock, if you did have a sports event on or something like that, I'm wondering if we could mold that into reduction of the volume, and I think that would be acceptable if it were TVs. And I know they're still amplified, but if we could do something with TVs. But the entertainment itself, if that were to be cut off at 10 o'clock, I don't know how we could mold that.
Maybe you could hand out earbuds.
There you go, right.
How about if you cut out the outside?
But whatever we decide on.
Yeah, if the Bears are on a Thursday night and it's overtime and they're gonna win, we'll go around to the neighbors and ask them if it's okay to leave it on.
I hear you, pal.
I would like to say that we do want to be good neighbors, and we don't want to upset any of the residents.
Yeah.
But we also want it to be fair and don't want to put ourselves behind the 8 ball already, compared to all the other businesses in the downtown area. So we're trying to bring something good to the area. We want it to be a place that people enjoy and come to. So I just don't feel like it's fair if, you know, we're restricted and nobody else is.
Well, that's what I'm saying, too. You know, I'm open on this, but I'm sharing with you the feedback that I've gotten. And I want to make something very clear. It was set a precedent here, because if some of the other taverns and lounges in the community want to have outside entertainment and it's acceptable, I want them to be restricted to the same hours as what we're doing here, okay? If in fact they're, so. But I don't know if you can, you know, I'm with the mayor. If I'm over there and I want to watch the Bears game and it's 10 o'clock at night and you come out and turn,
Yeah,
we can
yeah,
go
we can go
inside.
inside, yeah.
That's
You
what
can.
we'd have to do, go inside.
I don't know that we've ever had, maybe Chief, you know, when, I know there was a lot of people concerned with Brat's outside thing and about the noise and everything. I don't believe we've ever had any complaints from lofty condos, right?
I don't think we've had any complaints, but I also don't think that they have any amplification
Yeah, they
out
don't,
there.
you're right.
Yeah, they never did anything, right?
And I just want to clarify, there is a difference between the request for outdoor seating and live entertainment. They are two different things. And I just want to make sure everyone's clear on that. So Brock's has outdoor seating,
Yeah.
and there's no live entertainment request. There was no special use granted for that. It's completely different.
Any other questions from the committee?
Well, actually, I have one with regards to the designated smoking area. Do we have other businesses that have a designated smoking area in the back of their properties?
Actually, Moretti's does.
Moretti's. How close are they to residents? How close would their smoking area be to residents?
Pretty far.
Yeah. Closer, they would actually be closer to residents than Moretti's would be.
Yes, yes.
That concerns me a bit, just from the standpoint of people complaining about now they have to have secondhand smoke permeating into where they live, if it's that close.
I think there's not going to be a place that secondhand smoke could travel that far.
I don't know.
No.
I've put up the map, if you can see it. Residential, I know
It's
it's,
super smoke.
yeah. So it's pretty far. It's over 200 feet away, the closest house.
I would like to say that we did suggest that because J.C.'s was concerned about their outdoor patio on the front part, and that people would be out there. That would be the only other place for them to go to smoke, and that it would disturb their customers that were eating out on the patio. So that's why we kind of suggested maybe something in the back, so it wouldn't disturb their business or anybody else up in the front.
Yeah, wasn't that the main reason for Brat's back thing, was outdoor smoking in the back?
Yeah.
That way, because before that, there were a bunch of people in the front
Front.
place,
Right,
yeah,
right.
walking up and down the strip mall.
And this was this condition was suggested at the Plan Commission because they said, I know people are going to smoke, and we don't want them in the front next to the restaurant patrons, so.
And I don't want to make light of your situation, Mike. I don't want to make light of the fact that they could, if they're really close, but I don't think there's anybody that close.
That's
Roberta,
what
maybe we
I don't know for
reach a
certain.
compromise on this. Maybe we could have the entertainment end at 10 o'clock on Sunday through Thursday, but they can leave the TVs on until 11 o'clock. How's that sound? If you have any entertainment, but if we want to watch a ball game or something, around 11.
I'm sorry, did I read it correctly? You'll have potentially live music during the week as well outside.
That really hasn't been decided. I guess if it's like a 4th of July or something like
Yeah.
that, we may. But like I said, it would just, if anything, it would be 2 people. And I don't know how much amplification we would have. It would be if they had any. I know we're not going to supply it.
So in those situations, couldn't they get, like if there's a special event or something, couldn't they get the same amplification permit that like Bannerman's gets every year and other places? Yeah, so
Yeah.
if the hours were restricted and they had a special event falling on a weekday that needed those special exceptions, you can just apply for an additional permit.
Which would grant them an hour extension, so.
Yeah. I love the plan. I love the site.
Me too.
I know it's, I don't know, many people know the experience level here. There's a lot of experience in restauranting amongst these folks, and I'm excited. Yeah.
We'll forward this on to the village board for a vote.
Anyone else? Yep. Thank you. Thank you for being out here.
Thank you.
And thank you for all the work. You guys have put in a ton over there.
The next thing on our agenda is the establishing trailer and semi-trailer storage lots and service tax. With that, could you give us a rundown?
Yes, Trustee Hopkins. So recognizing the increase in logistic businesses and the rise of e-commerce, staff has received inquiries for establishing trailer and semi-trailer storage lots here in the village. Currently, we have 1 storage lot. It was approved as part of an annexation agreement. And we have 1 application that has been submitted for a 2nd truck and trailer storage yard that is currently under review by the staff. So we researched how other communities regulate these potentially impactful businesses, and we modeled the attached draft ordinance utilizing several regulations implemented by these other communities. And some of the regulations include establishing aesthetic controls such as making sure the parking lot is actually paved, that it is fenced and secured, and is landscaped. It would establish a service tax of $300 per parking or storage space levied annually. It would establish licensing criteria for storage lot owners and allow trailer and semi-trailer storage lots by special use within the I-1 and I-2 EDA zoning districts. It would also limit the number of these storage lots to 3 in the village, and then it would be prohibited in both the commercial and the public land zoning districts. And with that,
It's the new business of the future.
it is.
It is.
It is.
People are parking trucks everywhere.
Any questions from the committee?
One thing that I think I read in here somewhere, now when you're talking about semi-trailer storage, the flexibility that where the money could, the village could actually, instead of building a building there, could actually make some money is in the per unit storage, like per slot.
Space,
And you're saying that that could be up to $300 a slot,
yes, yes,
and that's monthly?
yearly,
That's an annual number?
yes.
Okay, so
And it would, after 5 years, it would go up to $500.
we have flexibility there if we decide to say, hey, you know what?
That's right.
We could make more money if we built something on this lot, and we could charge whatever, there's no like restrictions on what we could charge.
And I can tell you, the application that is going to come before this board shortly, they're saying that it's a temporary use. It could be many years. So when I say many, it could be up to 10.
Plus, they would have to pay an annual license for this as well?
Yes, they do.
And there's no overnight sleeping in these tractor trailers.
No.
Inside joke. All right,
We'll send this to the village board for a vote. That's all we have under building and zoning tonight.
thank you, Chairman Hopkins.
Could I just wanted to make something clear on that. I'm going back on that last one. The board should know that this is a regulation village-wide. That being said, when Bluff City was annexed, in their annexation agreement, they locked in certain ordinances. So this regulation would not be applicable to the trailer park in Bluff City until that annexation agreement expires. Where the truck parking is there was a fire out there and some issues. They've cleaned it up quite a bit, but that, I think, is up in a few years. I think it was 2023. And then this would apply, but just,
Yep.
but it is what the problems that occurred there that precipitated the need for these regulations. And then there's others who said, well, we want to do what they do. So, well, that's not the model. Here's what we want to do. We want to have these regulations. And if there's another one, here's what it's going to look like. And when that annexation agreement expires, then this would apply to them. But, there's some grandfathering in. They brought in a lot of things and paid, royalties and things, and it was a negotiation point. But they did lock in codes that I rarely, if ever, agreed to, except for life safety, and this didn't meet the criteria on the locked-in codes for life safety issues.
And
All right,
just to clarify, it does have to go to the zoning board for a public hearing, so I just wanted to make sure that goes on the record.
Yep. All right, thank you, Chairman Hopkins. Next item, Police and Health, Chairman Carbonaro.
Mr. President, the first item that we have is a request from the police department to amend cannabis-related ordinances within the village. Chief Burkelis.
Thank you, Trustee Carbonaro. Happy holidays, everybody. The police department is requesting the village board to amend several of its cannabis-related ordinances, especially in regard to loitering for the purposes of or engaging in drug-related activities, chronic nuisance property, seizure and impoundment of motor vehicles used in the commission of certain offenses, and cannabis and drug paraphernalia in response to the Cannabis Regulation and Tax Act and the recent trailer bill that was sent to the governor to sign, which will go into law, as we know, on January 1st, 2020, which allows adults 21 and older to legally possess, consume, and purchase cannabis paraphernalia and certain amounts of cannabis with some exceptions. The police department is also recommending the village board to update certain penalties that were listed in the Title V, Chapter 3 to reflect a $750 fine or penalties that the administrative hearing officer can impose in Title I, Chapter 15. The proposed amended ordinances were included in your board packet. Myself, Village Attorney Moraz, and Sergeant Mike Romo worked hard on these, and we would be happy to answer any questions or concerns that you may have in regard to the proposed changes that we present to you tonight.
I don't have any questions. You guys have looked at a lot of different people's guidelines and rules and everything else. I know the depth that you guys take in putting this together, so I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions?
Guess we'll move this along.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman Carbonaro. That is it, and before we adjourn, I just want to mention that we'll be adjourning to executive session to discuss the sale of village-owned property pursuant to Section 2C6 of the Open Meetings Act. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
By Trustee Cameron, seconded by Trustee Carbonaro. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Daney?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Ranky?
Yes.
Hammer?
Yes?
Carbonaro?
Yes.
We're adjourned to executive session.